Hey everyone, welcome back to Suncoast Creations by Sheila. Today we're going to make this beautiful faith crucifix using some extra abalone shells that I had. It's going to be a little bit of an experiment, so let's go ahead and get started. So I have my work area prepped. I've got some UV resin I'm using. I also have some resin by Let's Resin. It's a fast cure, 1-to-1 ratio. And I'm going to just give it a quick little stir here to make sure that it is completely mixed. It is a little bit thicker consistency, so I want to make sure that it is completely mixed before we pour it. And then I'll set it aside here and I'll let it set for 5 minutes while I go ahead and line the word faith with this diamond dust glitter UV resin. So this is by Ebanku. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'll fill in the word faith and the lines that you see in here. I won't make you watch me do this whole thing. I'll fast forward through it, but I'll keep the camera on the mold so that you can see what I'm doing as I'm fast forwarding. Okay, now we've got all of the color in. We're going to go ahead and pop this under the UV light. I'm using the UV lamp by Let's Resin. It's got a 2, a 3, and a 5-minute setting. So we're going to set this for 5 minutes and we will be back. Okay, time's up. Let's take a look and see if it's done. Just want the word faith to harden. And it looks pretty good. Next, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put some UV resin by Let's Resin in the bottom of this. And I'm going to fill it now maybe to about 1/4 of an inch full. So sorry about the camera here. I just want to make sure I'm close enough for you to see. So get in the middle here. So I'm just going to go in and pour some of this in the margins just to make sure I'm hitting all of those little nooks and crannies on the cross. It's got quite a few little rounded corners and square edges, so I want to make sure I'm hitting all of those as I'm pouring this. I'm just going to make sure that I don't miss any areas here. This is not the high viscosity resin, this is just the hard resin, so it spreads pretty easily. I'm just going around the word faith and in through the middle. This is self-leveling, so that's the nice thing. The resin is self-leveling and it helps that my table is nice and level. I do have a leveling table by Let's Resin. I'm just going to run my dotting tool around the margins and make sure that I have filled in and break up any bubbles that might be hovering along the sides of the coaster, or I'm sorry, the mold. Been doing a lot of coasters lately. I'm going to go ahead and take these abalone shells I have. I've got some very large ones that I can't use in jewelry or other pieces. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the crucifix with these larger pieces of abalone shell. And I'm putting the prettier side down. So what you're seeing is kind of the browner side. I'm actually putting down the prettier purpley blue-green pieces to the front. And I'm going to find pieces that kind of fit into these different nooks and crannies. And I'm just going to tap that down a little bit. I'm not going to make you watch me fill this whole thing. It's a little bit of a tedious process, and anytime you're working with with shells like this, it can be quite tedious. So I'll just place a few in here, but the goal is to go around the entire mold and fill this in. And I've never done this with UV resin and epoxy resin at the same time, so it'll be interesting. Okay, we just about have all the big pieces in. Now I'm going to take some smaller pieces and I'm going to go ahead and fill in the back, do like a layer over the top of the bigger shells with these smaller kind of crushed shells. And this will fill any holes and gaps that I may have missed with the bigger shells. What I want is to have complete shell coverage. I don't want there to be any gaps from the front when you're looking at the cross from the front. I don't want there to be any visible gaps. So go ahead and just kind of tap these down into the resin. And once I get all of these in, I'm going to hit this on both the back side of the mold, which is what you're actually looking at, and then the front side. So now it's all filled in. And we're ready for the light. So let's hit this for 5 minutes. And we're back. Fast forwarded through that. Now I'm going to take the resin, the epoxy resin. I'm just going to pour this over and fill the back of the crucifix here. I'll probably add a few more shells into the epoxy resin. The first layer is now set, so the bottom layer of shells won't float up to the top. I wasn't sure if they would or not because they're heavy. So now I'm just going to add another little layer of shells here. And they'll probably sink to the bottom here because they are heavy, and that's okay. Just want to make sure that I've got enough in here and we get that 3D effect and don't lose the colors from the front. It'll also add color to the back. Okay, now I've filled in the rest of the resin. I'm going to pop the bubbles. This is just about full to the top of the mold. And it will have to set for 24 hours. This is fast cure. It'll probably cure in about 4 to 5 hours. But I think I'll let it set for an additional day, or an additional, overnight hours. I'm just going to hit this a little bit with my torch gun just to make sure I blast out any remaining bubbles. Okay, we're going to set this aside for the night and I'll come back tomorrow and we'll look. And here we are. I cheated. I demolded it already. I couldn't wait. But I did put it back in the mold just to protect it from lint and dust. Wow. I think it's gorgeous, guys. I don't know about you. I definitely got the effect I wanted to achieve here. The shells look like they're sitting in water on the back. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and dome this. And I'm going to use Let's Resin UV Resin Hard Type. And I'm just going to fill in the areas around the word faith, filling in any gaps or spots that may have pitted a little. I don't really see any pitting, but and the goal of this when you're doming is to bring the resin out to the margins and fill everything in and make it look like it's got this nice rounded effect to it. And when you're working with abalone shells, you definitely, in this format, you definitely will have some uneven areas, but that actually is okay too. It does give it more of a wooden cross effect. So if I really wanted it to be rustic looking, I would not dome it. But I haven't shown you guys the doming aspect yet, so I want to make sure that I include that. Beginners love to learn how to dome, or if you don't know how to dome, whether you're a beginner or not, it's always fun to watch somebody do it and learn. If you're not a beginner, I'd love your feedback, and even if you are a beginner, I'd love your feedback. Okay, let's go ahead and fast forward here so we can speed this up a bit. See you in a minute. Okay, this is all filled in. Next thing we're going to do is hit it with the UV light and get that to cure. So 5 minutes with the light and we'll be good. We're back. It's done. Oh my gosh, you guys. It is set. It is so pretty, and you can still see the word faith. It didn't get lost in the shells. I was worried about the purple, if that'd be the right color, but I think it's perfect. Black would have been too dark. Drop me a comment and let me know what you think. I could have done a gold maybe, but I think that would have been lost too. Look at those shells. Wow. Absolutely love it, and I hope you love it too. Well, that is a wrap for today. It was fun experimenting with UV resin in the bottom of this mold and adding the shells, and then doing an overlay with the epoxy. Back so pretty. Anyway, thank you for joining me today, guys. It's always fun to try something new. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and a thumbs up is always appreciated. Until next time, have a good day, everybody.